The big talking point from last night's game between Argentina and Egypt was VAR's intervention to disallow the 62nd minute wonder goal from Egypt's Zico for a foul that occurred in the build-up deep inside the opposition half. Both in-game and post-match, I agreed and understood why the VAR recommended an on-field review to the referee given the contact he'd seen in the replays. And equally, when at the screen, it was very unlikely the referee was going to overturn that decision given the replays that he was presented. The bigger question for football, I guess, is this VAR re-refereeing games? Is this VAR looking too deeply to disallow goals? If you look at this instance specifically, did the contact on Martinez have a direct impact on the ball ending up in the back of the Argentina net? The answer is probably not. So on reflection, this was probably an intervention too far, but it's a fine line and it's a puzzle that football really needs to solve.
This story checks out. It's from this week's World Cup. So I've got solid sourcing across ESPN, Sky Sports, and Goal.com to build from. Here's your script. Football fans around the world are still processing one of the most dramatic World Cup knockout matches in recent memory. And now, the fallout is turning into a full-blown controversy that could shake up officiating standards for the rest of the tournament. Egypt is furious. The Egyptian Football Association has come out swinging, refusing to stay quiet about what happened in their round of 16 clash with Argentina. And when a national federation goes public with this kind of statement, you know something significant went down on the pitch. Today, we're breaking down exactly what happened in this wild 3-2 thriller, why Egypt believes they were cheated out of history, and what could happen next as this controversy escalates all the way to FIFA. If you're a fan of high-stakes football drama, official complaints, and controversial VAR decisions, stick around, because this story has all of it. Let's set the stage. Egypt entered this World Cup with a mission. This was already a historic run for the Pharaohs. Reaching the round of 16 marked just their fourth ever World Cup appearance. And outside of the 1934 tournament, which only featured 16 teams, this was uncharted territory for Egyptian football. Fans back home had been dreaming of a deep run, and led by veteran head coach Hossam Hassan, a legendary former striker himself. The team had captured the attention of football fans across the Middle East and beyond. Standing in their way was Argentina, the reigning World Cup champions, led once again by the man who needs no introduction, Lionel Messi. Even with all of Argentina's pedigree and star power, this was not going to be an easy night for the South American giants. Egypt came to play. Now let's walk through what actually happened on the pitch, because the match itself was an absolute roller coaster. The game took place in Atlanta, in a stadium normally home to the NFL's Atlanta Falcons, a fitting venue for a match that would end up feeling like a heavyweight sporting event in its own right. Egypt controlled large portions of the match and eventually broke the deadlock. Mostafa Zico put Egypt ahead in the 67th minute, and remarkably, the Pharaohs found themselves up 2-0 against the defending world champions. For a moment, it looked like Egypt was going to pull off the shock of the tournament and send Argentina packing. But this is where things get complicated and controversial. During the match, Egypt believed they should have had a second goal from Zico's stand, but it was ruled out following a VAR review. Then, in the build-up to Argentina's eventual winning goal, Egypt's players and coaching staff were adamant that Alexis Mac Allister committed a foul that should have been checked by VAR and simply wasn't. What followed was one of the great comebacks in recent World Cup history. Argentina found another gear, scoring 3 goals in just 13 second-half minutes to completely flip the match on its head. The dagger came deep into stoppage time, when Enzo Fernandez rose to head home the winning goal in the 92nd minute, sending Argentina through 3-2 and igniting chaos on the sideline. The scene after that final goal was intense. Egypt's goalkeeping coach, Safan El Sagir, was shown a red card and had to be physically restrained from confronting the match referee, French official François Letexier. Multiple Egyptian players and staff members picked up yellow cards as they protested what they viewed as a series of unjust decisions. Head coach Hossam Hassan himself was booked for his reaction in the aftermath of the winning goal. So how did the Egyptian Football Association respond? They didn't hold back. In an official statement released the morning after the match, The UEFA declared that they could not stay silent about the refereeing decisions witnessed during the game, specifically calling out what they described as a failure to properly use the video assistant referee system. The federation said that several key incidents during the match raised serious concerns about the consistency and fairness of the officiating, decisions they believe directly impacted the outcome of the game. The UEFA didn't stop at just criticizing the officiating. According to Sky Sports News, Egypt has now filed a formal complaint with FIFA regarding the handling of the match, and the federation is reportedly pushing for referee François Letexier to be removed from officiating any further matches for the remainder of the World Cup. That is a significant escalation. This isn't just a federation venting frustration in a press release. This is Egypt formally asking football's governing body to take action. Head coach Hossam Hassan didn't mince words either in his post-match comments. He argued that his team outplayed the defending champions in almost every phase of the game, but suggested that outside forces influenced the final result. He pointed specifically to the disallowed goal and the uncalled foul in the build-up to Argentina's winner as the two moments that swung the match. Hassan also claimed that pressure from the Argentine camp may have influenced the referee's decision-making as the match wore on. It's worth noting that Hassan was emotional in his comments, going as far as to say he has no intention of watching the rest of this World Cup once he returns home, calling it his personal form of protest against what he sees as an unjust outcome. Now let's dig into why this story matters beyond just one controversial match. For starters, VAR controversies at the World Cup always draw intense scrutiny, because the entire point of the system is to eliminate exactly these kinds of contested moments. When a federation publicly states that VAR failed to do its job, and follows that up with a formal FIFA complaint, it puts pressure on football's governing body to respond, whether through review, explanation, or, in rare cases, disciplinary action involving match officials. For Egypt, this is also about legacy. This tournament run represented a historic achievement for Egyptian football, and the manner of the exit has left a bitter taste that the federation clearly does not want to let go unaddressed. Whether or not FIFA takes any formal action, Egypt's public stance sends a message to the football world about how seriously they view the situation. For Argentina, the storyline is completely different. Despite the controversy swirling around them, the defending champions have advanced to the quarterfinals, where they will face Switzerland. Messi and his teammates will want to keep the focus on their own performance and their continued title defense, rather than getting drawn into a debate about officiating that wasn't within their control. Reaction from the football world has been mixed, but plenty of pundits and analysts have weighed in on the controversial passages of play. According to the EFA's own statement, a number of football experts and specialist analysts, both in Egypt and internationally, have pointed to what they describe as controversial and influential refereeing moments during the match. That kind of outside validation from neutral observers only adds fuel to Egypt's case as they push FIFA for a response. On social media, fans have been split. Some football fans see this as another example of a smaller footballing nation getting the short end of the stick against a global superpower during a big stage moment. Others argue that Egypt's second-half collapse, allowing 3 goals in just 13 minutes, was more about their own inability to see out the match than any refereeing conspiracy. That debate is likely to continue for days, especially as more replays and analysis pieces circulate. So what happens next? All eyes are now on FIFA. Sky Sports News has reported that they've reached out to football's governing body for comment regarding Egypt's complaint, and the football world will be watching closely to see whether there's any official response. Whether that comes in the form of a public statement, an internal review of the officiating, or simply silence, will say a lot about how FIFA plans to handle high-profile refereeing disputes for the remainder of this tournament. As for the football on the pitch, Argentina's journey continues. Their quarterfinal matchup with Switzerland is set, and Messi will be looking to add another chapter to his legendary World Cup story. Meanwhile, Egypt's tournament has come to a close, but the conversation around their exit is clearly far from over. So let's recap the big picture here. Egypt pulled off a historic World Cup run, taking a 2-0 lead against the defending champions in the round of 16, only to see that lead disappear in a stunning second-half collapse from Argentina. In the aftermath, the Egyptian Football Association has taken a hard public stance, criticizing the officiating, calling out the use of VAR, and formally requesting that FIFA remove the match referee from the rest of the tournament. This story is a reminder of just how thin the margins are at the World Cup, and how quickly a heroic performance can turn into heartbreak over the smallest of contested decisions. Whether FIFA responds to Egypt's complaint remains to be seen, but this controversy is likely to follow this World Cup for the rest of the tournament. If you enjoyed today's football update, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss the latest football news from around the world. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next update.